You know that feeling, right? When your brain gets stuck on a hamster wheel, just replaying the same conversation, the same worry over and over again? Well, that's called overthinking, and it is absolutely exhausting. In this explainer, we're going to dive into the tools you need to hop off that wheel and get your headspace back. Let's do this. I mean, how perfect is that quote? It just nails the feeling, doesn't it? It's all this motion, all this effort. You're burning so much mental energy, but you're not actually making any progress. You're just stuck, rocking back and forth in the exact same spot. So let's be super clear. Overthinking isn't the same as just thinking deeply about something. Nope. It's a specific pattern of useless, repetitive thinking. The key word here is loop. It just goes around and around and around, and it never, ever leads to an answer. And this part is so important. It's a mental habit. It is not a flaw in your character. All right, so if we're going to break this habit, we first have to understand what's really going on. What does that loop actually look like? And what's powering it? Let's take a look under the hood. Okay, check this out, because this table is a game changer. On the one hand, you have overthinking. What's its focus? The problem, the past, things you can't change. And how does it make you feel? Ugh, drained, anxious, just awful. Now look at the other side, productive reflection. Its focus is on the solution, on the future, and the feeling? Empowered, motivated. And the outcome tells the whole story. One gets you stuck in circles, the other gives you a clear, actionable next step. So why do our brains even do this? Well, they're kind of running on old software. Our brains are wired to spot threats and chew on problems until they're solved. But that ancient wiring can totally backfire on us today. We think we're just being careful, but what's really driving the bus are these hidden fears, being terrified of making the wrong choice, needing to be 100% certain, which is impossible. Or, and this is a big one, just plain old perfectionism pretending to be responsible. Okay, so you catch yourself doing it. The spiral is starting. What can you do right now to pull yourself out? This section is your emergency toolkit, practical things you can do the second you feel that loop starting up. First up is the brain dump. The idea is so simple, but trust me, the effect is huge. When all those worries are just swirling around inside your head, they feel massive and chaotic, right? Like monsters in the dark. The simple act of writing them down gets them out of your head. It's like turning on the lights. Suddenly, that mental storm just becomes a few lines on a piece of paper, and their power over you just shrinks. Now, this one's going to sound a little weird, but stay with me, because it really works. It's called worry time. Instead of fighting a thought, you just schedule it. You tell your brain, okay, I hear you. That's a valid concern. We're going to worry about that at 5 p.m. for 15 minutes. You're not ignoring it, you're containing it. And what's wild is that by the time 5 p.m. rolls around, most of the time you've forgotten about it or it just doesn't feel urgent anymore. Next, we've got a fantastic perspective shifter, the 5-5-5 rule. When you feel yourself spinning out, just stop and ask these 3 questions. Will this matter in 5 minutes? Will it matter in 5 months? And will it matter in 5 years? It's like a zoom out button for your brain, and it's a powerful reality check that shows you when you're making a mountain out of a molehill. See, overthinking happens in the abstract world inside your head, the past, the future. This technique yanks you right back into the physical reality of the present moment. By deliberately engaging all of your senses, what you can see, touch, hear, smell, and taste, you force your brain to interrupt that thought loop and focus on the here and now. It's an incredible pattern interrupt. And please, whatever you do, do not underestimate the power of just moving. Think of overthinking as stuck mental energy. And what's the fastest way to get energy unstuck? Move it. Getting up and taking even a quick walk around the room can completely reset your nervous system and shatter that mental pattern. Okay, all those tools we just covered, that's your mental first aid kit. They're fantastic for stopping the spiral in the moment. But for real, long-term change, we've got to go a little deeper. So in this next section, we're going to talk about how to fundamentally change the way you relate to your own thoughts. This really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do we stop that useless rocking chair motion and actually start moving forward? Well, the answer comes down to a tiny but profound shift in the kinds of questions we ask ourselves. You really need to see this. The word why can be so dangerous. Why is this happening to me? Why is this so hard? It almost always looks backward, and it keeps you stuck in victim mode. But the second you switch to what or how, like what's one small step I can take right now, bam, everything changes. You're suddenly forward-looking, you're active, you're in control. Here's a superpower you have that you might not be using. You do not have to believe every thought that pops into your head. So start acting like a detective. When a nagging thought comes up, question it. Ask it, hey, are you actually helpful, or are you just here to make me feel bad? Is there any real evidence for this, or am I just confusing a feeling with a fact? And my absolute favorite, what would I tell a friend if they were thinking this? That one is magic, because we're always so much wiser and kinder to our friends. This one is for all my fellow perfectionists out there. So much of our overthinking is just perfectionism in disguise. It's that terror of not making the absolute 100% perfect decision. You have to give yourself permission to embrace good enough. Because you know what? Action creates clarity. Waiting for perfect creates nothing. Remember this mantra: done is better than perfect. This is such a core idea for mindfulness, and it's a big one. It's about creating just a little bit of space between you, the real you, and the thoughts that just float through your mind. I love the analogy, you are the sky and your thoughts are just the clouds. Some are dark and stormy, some are light and fluffy, but they all just pass by. You are not the clouds, you are the sky. All right, so we've spent a lot of time on defense, how to stop an overthinking attack. Now, let's switch to offense. How do you build a lifestyle that makes your mind fundamentally stronger and less likely to get hijacked in the first place? Look, none of these are going to be a huge surprise, but their combined effect is off the charts powerful. Sleep is non-negotiable. A tired brain is an anxious brain, period. A few minutes of mindfulness a day is like doing push-ups for your attention span. Limiting doom scrolling gives your brain a chance to breathe. And finding hobbies that get you in that flow state is like a vacation for your mind. Think of all these things as building up your mental immune system. Whew, we have covered a lot of ground, from in-the-moment tricks to deep mindset shifts. So the big question is, how do you actually make this happen? Let's boil it all down into one simple, actionable plan you can start using today. This routine gives your brain structure, and chaotic, overthinking thoughts absolutely hate structure. In the morning, you create focus. During the day, you have a plan for when you get stuck. And in the evening, you clear out all the mental clutter so you can actually rest. This is how you build these new, powerful habits into your real life. And that brings us to the end. Look, the goal is never going to be to stop thinking. That's impossible. The goal is to stop letting your thoughts take you hostage in an endless, unproductive loop. So, as we wrap up, I want you to ask yourself, what is one small thing, just one little action you will take today to start reclaiming your headspace? Maybe it's a 10-minute walk. Maybe it's a brain dump. It doesn't matter how small it is. The journey to a clearer mind starts with that one single step.